watch that this weekend too.
What is up, fanboys and fangirls? Welcome to What the Fanboy Show review. A little of both. This week we're mixing things up a little bit. This is our spoiler review for Avengers Endgame. We just kind of finished our non-spoiler weekly show. You can check that out on our YouTube channel or podcasts. All of them are all locations where you can find us are listed at the bottom of this. Yeah, let's talk about Avengers Endgame. That was a movie that happened. Oh my gosh, it happened.
It happened. It did happen. Somehow.
I should introduce us. I'm so sorry. See, this is what happens when we do multiple videos in a row. I'm Brett.
I'm Brett.
That's also Brett.
I'm Brett.
I'm actually Chris. Sorry.
And I'm Tyler.
No,
this is going to get way too confusing, especially since my name's not on the screen.
Yeah, no, I'm Tyler. Sorry.
I'm Brett, and this is our special guest, Chris.
I'm not Luke.
Not Luke.
I'm Chris. Former host and now guest of What the Fanboy.
Special guest.
And
I'm special.
Former guest and now host.
Yeah.
Brett.
Hey.
You guys.
I forgot
Funny how that
weren't
worked.
here.
Weird. But yeah, we're going to talk some Avengers Endgame spoilers. Hopefully nobody who has not seen this movie clicks on the video. If they do, it's your fault. Don't get mad at us.
It's in the title. We have it on the screen.
Yeah, if you comment about spoilers and you're all upset about it, you suck.
I love it. So, like we mentioned, we've already kind of gone through our non-spoiler reviews of the movie. So this is strictly going to be spoilers. We're just going to jump right in. I think we should say our ratings one more time.
Yeah, just so everyone knows.
I gave it a fanboy worthy on our scale.
And we both gave it a booyah.
Booyah.
Reason being for me is that the movie has a lot of homework. There's 22 other movies that you I wouldn't say you have to watch, but
it's very fair.
It's not essential, but you should definitely watch them before you watch this movie because it makes those moments within the movie, within their time traveling, it makes it a lot more impactful and meaningful. And so to me, that knocks it down to a fanboy worthy.
I think it was almost the opposite for us. Like the fact that there are all these other films that strengthen, like it propels Endgame to this whole other level. It's totally a valid argument either way. I think you could make that argument, but yeah.
So let's jump into some pros and cons. Now that we can kind of just unleash and let go of how we really feel about the movie without worrying about what we're saying. Yeah. So Brett, you want to kick us off with some pros?
Sure. I don't actually have this one written down. If you were spying.
I always spy, but I never actually remember what I read.
I really like the there's this kind of the two scenes at the beginning, but then and that's just them getting back together, right? It's one of them is Hawkeye. Oh, that cold open. Oh, I loved it. That broke my heart. And then there was the Tony and Nebula getting back to the team, but I loved them going and finding Thanos so quickly.
Yeah.
That was a big surprise to me. I had no idea how they were going to... Obviously, Thanos is their enemy. And within 10 minutes, they have killed him.
Yeah.
That was the first big twist, and I loved it.
Yeah, I just remember sitting there thinking, I'm like, holy cow, they found Purple Shrek, and they killed him. And this is so crazy. Because, he's chilling out on his little farm, being like Shrek in the swamp.
Yeah. And
they just, yeah, dude, you're done for, buddy. No, I thought that was really cool. Mm-hmm. I thought it was a really good way to open the movie, and it really set the stage for everything to follow.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would agree. The cold open, I thought that was a great way to kind of fill in where Hawkeye was. Because it was like, Hawkeye wasn't in Infinity War. So I thought that was great. I mean, opening with the ankle monitor.
Yep.
And then really just breaking his character, I thought was really good.
While we're talking about Hawkeye / Ronin, I didn't realize how much I really missed Jeremy Renner in these movies.
He's such a good actor.
Until he was back, and I was like, man, I really like Jeremy Renner, and he's really good. And I now need to go watch Wind River.
I will say, at least in this movie, it always looked like he was either about to cry or about to punch you in the face.
Yeah.
Like those were his only two like
Emotions.
Those are
Hey,
yeah.
Well, don't give him hope. You know. He warned us.
Yeah.
Don't give him hope.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yes. We'll get to that here in a little bit. What's your next pro? I guess I should give mine.
You should give your pro. Yeah.
The introduction of Scott Lang in this movie is probably, in my opinion, one of the strongest scenes. He comes out, he realizes, holy crap, what just happened? Where am I? And he goes to the mural where they have all the names of the people who died. And then he realizes that his daughter is still alive, and he somehow finds her. You know, whatever. I'm not going to get into that. It doesn't bother me that he just randomly went to a house and she was there.
I just assumed it was.
Was it his house?
His house?
Their old house?
I didn't think it was.
I couldn't tell.
Maybe he just looked at like an old phone book.
Could be.
Or a new phone book.
But the
They're
moment
probably still making phone books.
probably. But the moment when he finds his daughter, to me, was the most emotional moment in the movie. It kind of choked me up a little bit. I'm a sucker for family stuff, and I just thought that was a really strong scene. The only thing it was missing was Scott Lang saying peanut. Because if he would have called her Peanut, I would have lost it. I would have been an emotional wreck. But no, I just thought that scene was really good, and I thought Paul Rudd / Scott Lang, he fit really well with the original six. Like he was in the team, and it just worked. Like I didn't feel like it messed with any kind of chemistry or anything like that. Felt like it was awesome. So I was really appreciative that he got to be a part of the central plot of the film.
Can I just shout out like Paul Rudd in general?
Yeah,
like,
absolutely.
This whole this movie is so much about Cap and Iron Man and Black Widow and Hulk and
Hawkeye.
Thor, but like he's that like new Avenger who comes in and really does like guide you through the whole story in a really cool way. Mm-hmm. So like shout out, he didn't obviously have the weight of this film on his shoulders, but he was great. I loved him.
Yeah.
I think that his like almost naivety made him a good audience stand-in.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Like so that they can explain things to him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That they're actually explaining to us.
Right.
Like when Thor's talking about the ether and everyone else is just kind of like, okay, Thor, we can't, like, you're in, and he's sitting over there like, dude, that's awesome.
Yeah. He is us, like, in that moment, and I think that was really cool.
I mean, I agree with everything you say about that scene, but also the entire universe was saved by a random rat stepping on a button.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So there's a couple ex machinas
Is that the plot hole that
in
really
this
bothered
movie.
you? Oh.
The rat one bothered me too. Just not from like a actual movie going standpoint, because I know that's just what happens in movies.
Yeah.
But it was a little bit frustrating. Like
They couldn't think of a better way.
Yeah.
You're not gonna find his van and investigate it at all.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, that's weird. His van's out here on the beach. It has weird Ant-Man stuff in it. You're not gonna. Tony Stark's not gonna look at it. He's not gonna push some buttons. Oh well.
Oh well. Other things.
I was gonna let
Chris.
you. Oh.
Oh. Okay. Pros.
Sorry, Chris could not see me because
I can see
I was looking. Yeah. Tyler's big head was between us.
Pros. I mean, I think I talked about a lot of them in the non-spoilers one. I feel like, Brett, you had mentioned that they did fan service really well in this, in that it was all earned.
Yep.
In that any reference, any mention of any character who appeared, it was all earned through the previous 22 movies. And I think that just really worked for it. I really liked the first act, just like the kind of the relationship building in there.
Yep.
I know, Brett, you were mentioning the first act felt a little long.
I think it was slow, but again, I liked all of it.
Yeah.
Like, I just wish that it had a little better pace. But again, I think all of the content was fantastic.
I think that you got to see characters in a type of hopelessness we haven't seen them in yet.
Yeah.
And I felt like pretty much all of the characters that we got to see in that did a good job of portraying that.
Well, I thought it was really interesting how each of our main characters there exhibit a different form of grief. Like, you know, with whether it's Hulk or not, Hulk with acceptance, right? Like, he just accepted it and moved on. You have Black Widow, who's very much holding on to the past
and trying to find a way to get everyone back.
Cap's doing this weird, like, he's helping everyone else, but he's not helping himself. And then Tony is just anger, I think. Well, eventually moves on. Yeah, he just removes himself from the world.
I mean, we see each of them dealing with it in such different ways. Yeah, like Black Widow throws herself into her work like completely, and I mean Hawkeye
just becomes a killer.
Throws himself into
dark,
totally different work.
Yep.
Yeah.
And then you see like Tony just really, I think, just avoidance. Kind of tries to build that new life, and I liked that we got to see them each kind of experiencing that differently.
Yeah. And Thor obviously becomes a drunk.
Yeah.
And I was glad to see Korg though.
Yes, Korg and Meek.
I was happy
survived.
to see them. I thought it was cool to see all of those different, like you guys said, exhibiting those different ways to handle their grief. My favorite of those, though, I think is Clint. You know, he kind of makes like this Batman-esque vow that he's just going to take out everybody who's bad.
Yeah.
And he doesn't really care about the consequences. He's just going to do it.
Do it till he gets stopped.
Right, exactly.
It's also missing a key part of the Batman-esque.
Well, I said Batman-esque. He's not.
He's straight up murdering.
Yeah, he's just murdering people. And I think that's awesome because I think, you know, for his character...
I hope that it gets taken out of context someday.
That I think that's awesome.
He's just murdering people, and I think that's awesome.
No, but I just think it's awesome to see, like, you know, even heroes fall off the deep end. Like, even a guy who has saved the world alongside the Avengers can reach this level of what seems like no return.
I don't want to do this, but I will. I think that is so much more rewarding to see as a fan, like a character have this almost unredeemable arc versus what the DC EU tried to do. I love the DC EU. Haters, get out of here. I don't want to hear it. But, like, we understood why he was doing that.
Yeah. There was a reason.
You know, it's not just Batman hopping in the Batmobile with machine guns on it. It's like, I can empathize with his loss. And while I can't imagine myself ever going to that dark place, I still get why he went to that dark place.
Yeah, absolutely. No, absolutely. I think they handled that much better than Snyder did with Batman.
So,
because we didn't have anything prior for Batman. But this is about Endgame.
Yeah, sorry.
No, you're fine. I totally get what you're going. But no, I just thought that was really cool. Next pro, before we don't want to linger too long.
No, let's keep moving.
You're up.
Sorry, my sister just texted me about
Endgame.
Endgame. She went and saw it for the second time, and
nice.
she was like, "Can confirm." Both her and her fiance cried during the second time of watching it.
Tell us where you cried if you're watching right now.
Yeah.
Put it in the chat and tell us if you cried during the movie.
I'll tell you where I cried. I cried 3 times on the first viewing.
Did you cry?
No.
Me either. Glad I'm not alone.
It's not
No. I just, like, I could hear everyone around me crying. And I was like, man, I'm not. And I feel like a weirdo.
I just don't have a heart.
It's kind of like going to Comic-Con and you're not dressed up.
Yeah.
Like, any other time, I feel like, you know, I'm pretty normal. But, like, when I go to Comic-Con and I'm just in a T-shirt and jeans, I'm like, all right, I don't fit in here at all. That's how I felt. Like, everybody around me's crying, and I'm just like...
Yeah, I mean, I've at least got the scars to show where they took my heart
Yeah, so I cried during most of the whole third act. On your left. On your left. Yeah, on your left.
Okay. Let's talk about that. How does that work? They're still using the same freaking channel from 5 years ago?
That does, yeah, no, it's nitpick. Yeah.
Come on.
Yeah.
On
your left, when you hear Falcon and then everyone starts pouring out, I'm just like, because in that moment, I think that's the moment that
Steve was gonna die.
Well, that's the like, no matter what, like this is the thing, whatever it takes, Steve will always stand back up.
Mm-hmm.
Even when his shield has been torn in half, Thor and Iron Man both down for the count. He doesn't stand a chance, and he still stands back up. And in that moment of being willing to be there and be that sacrifice, he's not alone.
Yeah.
Love it. Waterfalls.
That's where I thought Steve was going to die. And
Yeah.
I'm giving you
too.
crap about the radio thing.
Me too.
But that scene is so epic.
Mm-hmm.
Like, everything that is right before that with the hammer. But
yes.
just when everybody is coming through those portals and you hear T'Challa doing the Ibambe! Like, I was just like, oh, let's go! I'm ready to run through a wall for these guys. I just thought that was so cool.
Yeah.
I loved that scene.
The other time I cried was basically the entire...
I'm so sorry.
So Nick says that there was a lady behind him in the theater that was uncontrollably sobbing to the point where it made it hard to hear the movie, which is very impressive. To be in a theater and have someone crying so loudly that it's hard to hear.
That is awesome. You know, somebody was hospitalized because they couldn't stop crying?
What?
Yeah. It made news. It was pretty funny.
That sucks.
Yeah. Sorry, but go ahead.
No, basically the entire funeral scene for me.
Yeah.
And again, I don't know if it's just because I'm a father now and I have a daughter who's a little younger than Morgan in that scene in this movie.
Mm-hmm.
But just like when he's like talking to her via the hologram and he's like that he replays that line or re-says that line that she said, like, I love you 3000. Like, there's something just paternal that it just hurts knowing that, like, that's, and she's sitting there on the couch and you can tell she doesn't quite know what's going on.
She doesn't understand it. Brett's getting choked up again.
And then the whole funeral, and then she's sitting there at the porch, and this is the final one, was when she's sitting on the porch with Jon Favreau's character, Happy Hogan, and he's like, oh God, I am going to cry. Oh.
And he says to her, I'll finish.
Okay.
And he says to her, do you want a cheeseburger? And she says, yeah. And he's like, your dad loved
like,
cheeseburgers. And
I'll get you all the
cheeseburgers you want.
All of them.
Yeah. I was sitting next to Brett. I can confirm Brett was crying. Brett was sniffling pretty good. And I was like, oh, man.
Try not to snuffle right now.
No, it's okay. It's okay.
You guys should go.
No, I do want to talk about, I'd love to do pros because I could do pros all day on this movie, but I'd like to talk about some of the plot points that interest me and I think that could use some explaining. I don't fully understand. Is it okay to move on to that kind of stuff?
Totally.
I don't fully understand the way time travel is portrayed in this movie. I know that they explain it, but only seeing it once, I don't know that I'm able to wrap my head around it yet. So if one of you guys have a better grasp on it, I would gladly take that. But
so, like, my understanding is that your timeline, like, you're on your own timeline. You can't get off that. You can't move from that. And so when they travel back to the past, they're not like moving back to the start. They've gone here, and then it's like if you're editing video on the computer, go and copy this chunk and then drop it in there. And then so they just keep going, and then they get into that section that's their past, but they're still constantly moving forward in their own timeline.
The only time there's really a problem is if, like, that part that you cut out doesn't get put back.
Yeah.
But it's not a
That's
problem
how-
for you
It's a
because you're
problem-
already past it.
It's a problem in the new reality that exists in that copied section. Because you made that copy, you've now created a version that can branch, which is why it was so important that they put the things back.
The stones back.
Okay, so it's all about putting the stones back, not about putting everybody back where they came from.
Right.
Okay.
It's a little confusing. It will be interesting to see where they take it.
I need to listen to their commentary.
We were talking at dinner about the Loki series.
Yeah, and that's what makes it kind of confusing.
This is going to be, how that all works.
How that all is going to work. It was hard for me to watch Nebula kill past Nebula and nothing. There was no consequence, and I was like, okay. And I know they make the joke like early in the movie that this is nothing like what you've seen before.
Back to the Future is bullshit.
Yeah, but like I was just like, okay, so there's like no consequences then for doing anything in the past.
So to me, like killing past Nebula and a few other things do to me create a branch because they don't set everything back to exactly the way it was.
Mm-hmm.
But it can also be maybe like the Donnie Darko time travel situation where you create like a pocket of time travel and that becomes like a sustaining loop, and then outside of that things are fine. So I mean I'd have to rewatch the movie a few times to really get into that, and probably rewatch Donnie Darko a few times also to really figure that out.
Yeah.
But
yeah, I need to rewatch it and just kind of listen to what they're saying, because when I'm watching it and I'm taking it all in for the first time, there's just so many things I'm looking for. Whereas I think if I like sat down, I'm like, okay, I'm gonna pay attention to what they're saying here and I'm gonna figure this out. I think I wouldn't have an issue, but there's just a lot going on.
Yeah, I think Nick's kind of mentioning something about returning things. From how I understand it, and we'll move on from this real quick, but I think there is a single timeline. The multiverse does not exist. Okay. But if you remove an Infinity Stone, that creates a branch. However, if you can return that Infinity Stone back to the moment when you took it, that branch ceases to exist and just becomes the single timeline again.
So then, so I guess my question with that would be then, so after they return it, does everything just go back and nothing is ever actually changed?
It just seems to have fixed it. It's like it fixes itself without anyone knowing it. Because again, you're like who we are now.
You're still the same person,
right? Just what you have.
You're just moving.
Kind of, yeah. Well, but not really, because you're past what happened.
So removing the Infinity Stones can create branches, but like killing key players that are affecting the outcomes of the universe in the past doesn't change it. Because like...
No, because there's only one version of them.
Because like if you killed Nebula at the start of Guardians of the Galaxy 1, Guardians of the Galaxy 1, Guardians of the Galaxy 2, very different movies.
Right, but we're past that point. That's what I'm saying. There's only a single timeline. There's not actually branches.
But so like that Nebula wasn't past that point.
So it's more just people moving through time than it is. It's just really confusing to me because, like, with that logic, how are Captain America and Captain America in the same place?
So that does raise questions. I'm not 100% sure on how that works.
Yeah, I just have a hard time with it. And the other thing, sorry, I'm hogging this. The other thing that really confused me is that everybody who came back remembered everything from before. So they remember getting dusted.
Yeah.
And I don't really know how that works because if they were correcting things, it never would have happened, right?
But they're
not. They're actually not correcting
things.
it.
They were fixing
things. They're just bringing them back.
They weren't undoing things. They were fixing what had already been done. So they didn't make it so that Thanos never had the gems. They just brought people back. Which the only reason they had to do that is because of Tony's daughter. Like, Tony was like, we can't change what's happened.
In
We
the 5
can't
years.
change the past because
We can
he
only
loves his daughter.
we can only move them through time.
Right.
They can't change the past. They can just like fix what has happened now.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
I'll bring up my only real big complaint, which was they kind of glossed over how Thanos got there
Yeah, he just kind of like shows up.
because he doesn't have any Pym particles. Nebula just sticks her hand.
They
in.
take the one out of Nebula's head.
But they each only had enough to go
for one trip.
Oh,
to
that's
do
right.
one trip, and
So
they
she,
brought
like-
everybody.
Like they have the thing where it's like portal open. So, but that implies that Nebula somehow knows how to manipulate 2023 human Tony Stark technology to actually create a time portal versus just a thing where the Pym particles throw you back and forth. That's
that's weird.
more my complaint. I don't mind it because it gave us an epic third act.
Which-
but-
Yeah.
I mean, Captain America grabbed like 5 vials. So was she using some of those extra vials of Pym particles?
Maybe
And then
if she could have.
and then she does her whole like fingers go into the machine, and she's a robot. Like she's mostly machine. Maybe she's like they speak the little machine language.
Yeah. Everyone
Like,
speaks binary at
You're
some
a
point,
robot.
right?
I'm a robot. Yeah.
We'll make it work.
Just do this thing I want. I guess.
Yeah, I'm okay with it because the third act is super epic. Which, in the moment I kind of talked about earlier, when I was talking about the length of this movie, when the Avengers headquarters just gets absolutely decimated, I was like, oh yeah, it's time for the other half of the characters to do their thing.
Mm-hmm.
And then I was like, oh wait, there's only like 30 minutes left in this movie. Like,
Yeah.
nope, this is it. This is happening.
I do wish that we got to see more of the other characters, so that it wasn't just like, okay, we're here and we win.
Yeah, and that's actually my biggest pro in this movie is that they gave the original 6 their shine,
Yeah.
which is what I felt they deserved. Because they didn't get their shine in Infinity War. Well, not all of them.
Not all of them. How did you guys feel about Captain Marvel? I know that's kind of been around the interwebs, like yeah, we loved her, or, oh, like, why did she have to be in here?
I mean, you know how I feel about Superman. I'm not a huge fan of overpowered heroes.
Mm-hmm.
That just like, oh, here's a battle that would like take all of the Avengers or just Captain Marvel to take out this whole ship
Yeah.
or things like that. Like, I mean, it's really a lot of the same reasons that I don't like Superman.
Yeah.
So just too strong, I can do anything. I'm clearly the hero. If I wanted to, I could kill all of you, no problem. Like,
We know how I felt about the Captain Marvel movie. But honestly, I thought she was handled really well. She wasn't in it too much.
Mm-hmm.
And then when she was in it, we saw how powerful she really is. And then Thanos was like, all right, I got you figured out.
Yeah.
And then Tony's like, all right, I'll do it.
Yeah.
I'm going to take care of this. And so I thought that was the perfect amount. Although in Infinity War, we got that super dope entrance from Thor. And in this one, they kind of, I don't want to say they reserved it, but Captain Marvel got that kind of entrance scene. And I just didn't feel like that was the right character to do it with. I felt like you could have given that moment to, I don't want to say anybody else, but anybody else. Like I would have really liked it if maybe that was Gamora's entrance where she comes in and she just wrecks a bunch of stuff. Like she comes in a ship and wrecks it into stuff. Or Doctor Strange probably deserved that entrance more, being that he knows the whole plan.
I think I would have liked if we had let Professor Hulk actually Hulk out.
Well,
there.
yeah, that too. Yeah, absolutely. Actually, that's a great point.
If there was a moment where it would have been like, okay, just we're under control, but let's let the Hulk rip apart Thanos' ship.
Yeah.
Like, I think that could have been really cool.
I wish we would have gotten a Thanos versus the Hulk fight.
A rematch?
Yeah, because that was the best fight in Infinity War.
That was an awesome fight in Infinity
For
War.
the whole 12 seconds it was.
Yeah.
It was super good. It's only hand-to-hand fight, really. But no, I don't know. I thought she was handled well, though. I thought it was a perfect amount of her. That's all we needed.
I would agree. I think if you're gonna have her in there, if you have to have her in there, which I think at this point they did.
Yeah.
It was one of those, we have to have her in there. They used her right. It was to save Tony, which I didn't love, but it's fine. They had to move the.
I was gonna say they need to get him to Earth.
And then her showing up, destroying the ship. We all know she's really good at blowing up ships from Captain Marvel.
Yeah.
Mainly used as a projectile.
Yep.
And then her one-on-one with Thanos was great because it showed just how powerful she was, but also
how powerful Thanos is.
How smart he is.
Yeah.
Where at the moment when he was like, I can't one-on-one her, what can I do? He thinks so quick. He's like, Power Stone, boom.
Yeah. That was really cool.
That was Josh Brolin.
He's incredible. He's so good at that role.
So good.
Yeah.
I felt like they were like they had that scene where she gets the gauntlet and then it's like all the powerful strong women. I was like, yeah, awesome. Like some great strong powerful women, and then it's like actually Tony's going to do it. It's fine. So it's like, yeah, feminism. Just kidding. Just a little bit of feminism.
I actually thought it was really funny how, like, if there's anyone who doesn't need help, it's her.
Yeah.
like if Pepper had been, had picked it up or anyone else, and then, Captain Marvel was like,
I got your back.
We've got your back.
Yeah.
And then that would have made more sense to me. I think it's a cool, visually, it's a really cool moment, and more power to all the women. I think it's a great moment. It is just weird because of the circumstances of who it is.
Yeah.
Who's involved.
The most powerful person in the movie.
I think it's good imagery.
Mm-hmm.
In my opinion, it is pandering and creating a false sense of feminism in a movie that really didn't have any. Which I think you could you have so many strong female characters, you can do more with them, and then it's just we'll give this one scene where we show them all standing. It'll probably make a great poster or a great background or something.
Let's talk about the one original female Avenger,
yes,
who did get her moment.
Yeah,
Scarlet Witch. Gosh dang it.
Scarlett Johansson.
Black Widow. Ugh. I do that all the time.
I mean, Scarlet Witch got a pretty good moment too.
She did have an awesome moment.
Man, if she was
Scarlet
at all as strong as she is in the comics and the lore,
mm-hmm.
she could just rip that universe apart. She'd be like, nope. She is. I think that she is the Reality Stone.
I did appreciate how. Sorry, now we're not talking about.
Yeah, but anyways, Black Widow.
We diverted real quick there. No, I really liked how she was used from the. I'm gonna take over what you would think Tony or Cap would do. In the beginning of the movie, to ultimately being
she holds it together.
This is why I've been doing this.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna sacrifice myself so we can win.
Yeah. I liked the Vormir scene.
Mm-hmm.
I thought it was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
It's really funny to watch two people fight over who's going to kill themselves.
Yeah.
In that situation.
Not in reality.
Yeah, sorry. But not. Yeah, I thought it was just kind of funny to watch that. But it was also really sad. I thought, the guy who lost everything would be the one to go. But I thought that was the most empowering female moment in the movie, honestly.
Yeah.
Was that she was the one to biff it for the team.
Yep.
I thought that just showed just her character. I really don't like Scarlett Johansson that much, but I actually had no issue with her in this movie. I thought she was great. I thought she did a really good job.
She did a really good job.
And it actually kind of made me interested in her solo movie.
Mm-hmm.
Now I'm curious to see her do more with the character because they finally gave her something to do. So I'm excited. I don't know, this movie answered a lot of questions and then didn't set up much, and it has me wanting to know more about all these characters.
So you get the Soul Stone, by sacrificing a soul.
Mm-hmm.
And at least from what I've read, the reason they couldn't use the stones to get her back is because you'd lose the soul stone again.
Mm-hmm.
So when they put the stones back where they came from, why doesn't she come back?
That's a good question. Actually, I kind of want to see Cap showing up on Vormir and being like, "Hey, Red Skull,
Hey, buddy, good to see you again.
I've got this thing, all these things that I guess he's getting a briefcase now that you've been that you were chasing after when you were alive and tormented you because you couldn't have it. I'm gonna put it back.
Yeah, you can have it now. I don't want it anymore.
She should come back then, right?
I don't know. It doesn't seem to be how it works. I mean, he says very definitively that it's like
soul for soul.
It's an eternal trade or something. I don't remember the language he used.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, I guess.
I think it's pretty permanent.
But speaking of Cap, I kind of want to talk about his ending if we can.
Yes.
So there, before this movie, there's one thing I wanted. 1.5 things. The half thing I wanted was I wanted Captain America's ending to be great. I wanted him to go out and self-sacrifice. I thought it fit his character so well. And honestly, I think this movie did it 3,000 times. I'm going to say 3,000. 3,000 times better than I ever could have pictured it. He made it to the date.
Yeah.
That was so awesome to me. I thought they handled it really well. I really loved him sitting on the bench.
Yep.
And which led to my favorite moment in the movie.
Him appearing there in their time. So you went back in time. I feel like that might be the thing that messes with their whole time travel situation the most.
Yeah.
I think that's the biggest issue with because he should go back and then be in a new time that doesn't necessarily he's in his own new future timeline now. But
yeah, and
you can't.
Nobody knows.
There's probably not a single movie about time travel where all the time travel stuff makes sense and works out.
Right.
It doesn't.
Right. But it led to the moment I thought was super cool was Bucky saying to Sam, "You go."
Yeah.
Pretty much. And the one thing I wanted from this movie was Sam to take the shield. And holy crap, we got it. And I was so happy. I was fist pumping so hard in my chair. I don't know if I hit you or not.
You did not, but I can confirm he was.
I was so excited about that because I think that is going to be awesome. I love Papa Doc. He plays Papa Doc in 8 Mile.
Why didn't he take Bucky with him when he went back in time? Just be like, hey, I've got this great plan. We're going to go back to our time and live our lives.
I think
Bucky
I think he's at a happy place with Bucky though.
Yeah. He helped Bucky get out from where he was.
I think as much as they want to be together in terms of BFFs, they know they're better off without each other.
Does Bucky not miss the time that he missed out on? Does he not want to be able to live his life? Does he not have people he missed from his past?
He's not an original Avenger, so it doesn't matter in this movie.
He's a Phase 4. He's a Phase 4 Avenger, man. He is now Sam Wilson's sidekick.
All right.
And no, I was just really happy to see Sam take the shield. I thought it was a really cool passing of the torch moment that we needed. We needed some of that, and I felt like this was perfect. I think it's really the only passing of the torch moment we get in the movie.
It is.
But I think it's great. I think it's cool to see Sam Wilson take over as Captain America for a million reasons. But I just thought it was so cool that we actually got it. And we're actually going to get it moving forward. But it makes me really curious about their Falcon and Winter Soldier series.
Yep.
What is that? What is that time frame? How does that work? Because now everybody's going to want to see Sam with the shield.
Well, my guess is post-snap, and it's going to be him becoming Captain America.
I freaking hope so.
Where he's reluctant. I mean, he's clearly at the end of this movie, he's like, this still feels strange.
Feels like someone else's.
I think it's going to be him at the beginning, still very much Falcon, like trying to figure out how to be Captain America. And by the end of maybe season 1, it's, he's dropped the wings. He's Cap.
Yeah.
Oh, I think he's gonna keep the wings, and we're gonna get some sweet
I mean, that'd be
America
dope too.
wings.
That would be dope too.
That's awesome.
Real quick, John, dying.
I was gonna
it's just
say
not his personality.
I don't feel that it was so much him dying. It was so much as you can rest now.
It was the permission.
And
it was
that
the permission
line
given by, whether or not you like Gwyneth Paltrow, a little bit like Scarlett Johansson.
Right.
I think
she did good.
She nailed it in this movie. She didn't have a lot to do, but what she did, I thought she did great.
And I think the rescue thing, her rescue suit was super dope.
Yes.
I was like, this is awesome. Purple Iron Woman. I love it. No, I agree. I thought Tony's demise was perfect. I thought it was executed really well. And then, just the line of, it's okay, you can rest now.
Yep.
Was so good and so well delivered by Gwyneth Paltrow. And it, talking about it now, it makes me more emotional than actually seeing it, because I'm looking at it now differently.
Mm-hmm.
But it was awesome. I think I was just so shocked that they actually did that.
They did it.
Also, shout out to the Iron Man gauntlet. That thing was dope.
Yeah, it was.
Looked really cool. Also, how did he strip all those off of the gauntlet? I don't know. That was super cool.
The gauntlet probably had little fingers that came out and grabbed it.
Because they speak robot.
Yeah. Just like,
thank you.
He just told Friday grabbed the gems. And then...
Friday, I need you to do this for me.
Yeah, I thought that was cool. And I thought the moment with Tony Stark and Peter Parker hugging each other was really good, too. I thought that was cool. Did you not like it?
No, that was like, sad.
Yeah. I thought it was like, that was stupid. And I was like,
we got to see him activate,
awesome.
activate instant kill mode.
Yes,
that was awesome. Yeah, that was really cool. I thought, man, anytime Tom Holland's on the screen as Peter Parker, he just absolutely steals the scene, and it's awesome.
So did all of his friends disappear in the snap? So
That's
when he goes back to high school, they're all the same age?
Yeah, that's a really good question. We'll
Yeah,
see if
'cause,
Sony wants to address that.
Because there's going to be some real weird relationships happening between people who were there during the time between the snaps.
It makes those when they were freshman, senior, and now it's senior, freshman in college.
Yeah.
Makes that a lot more palatable.
Yeah. I think the only other big thing is Cap picking up the hammer.
That was the one that got we went Thursday night.
Oh my gosh, our theater was lit.
Our theater was very vocal through the whole thing, but that moment, holy cow!
Everybody went ballistic.
Everyone.
It was awesome. They show that shot of the hammer coming off the ground, and I was just like, oh, I just got chills just now thinking about it.
I mean,
I started to get super hyped.
That's another thing of the timelines, though.
See, but he took it back. He took the hammer back.
Did he take the hammer? Okay.
Yeah. Yep, he took the hammer back.
Oh yeah, he took it with him, didn't he?
Yeah, he had it with him, and he didn't have it when he came back. Yeah,
right.
Yeah, you're right.
Ah.
I
fixed that one.
That was fixed. My big one, my big problem is Black Widow not being able to come back when we put the stone back.
Yeah. I don't know. Other awesome. I just have a list of awesome moments. Do you guys have any other great moments that you want to talk about or just mention?
Just watching Cap go to work with the hammer and his shield was just so cool to me.
It was phenomenal.
I thought that was incredible.
I think seeing the shield breaking, seeing the shield break was a big deal to just show how powerful Thanos really was. Because it's vibranium, and
the only thing we've seen do anything to it is Black Panther's claws,
which
are also made out of vibranium.
Which scratched it.
Right.
And then because it's in the comics, it's vibranium and adamantium.
Oh,
alloy,
it's
right? It's an alloy of them, which now adamantium can exist in this universe.
So that was something before you go to your cool moments, I thought about is how much did their timeline and time travel stuff mess with things? Are there mutants now? Is this how they introduced the X-Men?
Good time to introduce them.
It's just a really easy way to do it. They came back and they're like, oh man, there's these other guys. They're mutants. They have powers.
Well, you could have
the snap converged to the Fox universe.
Yeah.
people who were dusted when they became undusted, some of them had a mutant gene now.
There you go. Like
For
Scarlet
whatever
Witch now
reason.
knows who her dad is all of a sudden. She's no longer a clone. Or whatever, made by a stone.
Made by the stone.
Yeah.
Yeah,
let's hear your moments.
my moments.
Because I'm pretty sure you're going to hit them all.
Okay, real quick. Tony and Morgan, their little moment when Tony's like, shit, and then she's like, shit. It just as a parent, that made me laugh. That was just like yes, kids repeat everything you say. That was great. I thought Thor's introduction was great. We hit on that a little bit.
I wish you would have somehow got back to fit Thor by the end of the movie.
Nope. I appreciate Dad Bod Thor representing.
Here's the thing. They know how to change people's ages, and they keep their memories and everything. Like, when he was teenage Ant-Man, he still knew what was going on. Like, he still had all... Why didn't they just be like, oh, we're going to make you, like, 5 years younger. 5 years younger with your ripped Thor bod.
I mean, I think in whatever he's in next, whether that's Guardians 3
It's
or...
as Guardians of the Galaxy.
He'll just have a little training montage and be like, I stopped drinking beer and I hit this Bowflex that Peter Quill had in the back of his ship.
There you go.
Didn't Quill talk about getting a Bowflex after...
A blowflex?
A a Bowflex.
Yeah.
Okay, other hilarious things. America's ass.
Yeah, that was awesome.
No other comment, just that. Hail Hydra. That was set up so perfectly because you're just like, I get to watch these guys go down again, and Cap's gonna rip them again.
Yeah.
And then it's like, yes, please.
Yeah, I was ready for just a fight because I was like, yeah, he's Captain America. He can fight an elevator full of guys. And I was like, nope, never mind.
Yeah, that was clever. Cap using Mjolnir.
Yeah, we talked about some of these other ones. On your left, Avengers. The Avengers Assemble.
Yeah.
Which, just finally earning that.
It's a weird place to say it when you're running out into a battlefield, though. But yeah.
It was. But you know what was amazing? Like, you were there during our showing when Cap said Avengers, and then some little kid in the front row was just like, oh yeah, before he said assemble, and then everyone started like, it was probably the most response we got during our show.
Kind of invested in the MCU. If you don't watch it and you are invested in the MCU, you're crazy.
I can't wait to see what they have next.
Yeah, I'm super curious because they don't tee anything up.
Nope.
They do show the Garage Kid though at the funeral.
They do show the Garage Kid from Iron Man 3.
Yeah.
It was an interesting decision.
Okay.
Very intentional because everything they do in the MCU is intentional.
Tell me what you're thinking there.
I think he was the one person through the whole thing that I was like, I didn't remember who he was.
Who that was.
He was like near the back of the party.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Like,
by himself.
Standing by himself in like a white t-shirt or something.
I think he had a coat on.
A little older now.
Yeah, a little older.
Yeah.
Not quite right. I think a lot of people were like, is that the kid from Iron Man 3?
Yeah.
I think it is, but I don't want to sound stupid.
He was the only one that I didn't know right away who it was.
Yeah.
So in Guardians of the Galaxy 2,
I hate that movie.
they introduce a character that I was really hoping to see.
That is super freaking important to this story.
Yeah.
And they didn't use him.
He's a key character in this whole story arc in the comics.
He becomes the Infinity Stones.
Yeah, so at the end of Guardians of the Galaxy 2, they have that birthing pod.
Yep.
That they're making a new, what are those people called?
The gold people?
The gold people, whatever they're called. They're making the new step in their evolution. This perfect being. And she's like, I'll call him Adam. And it's going to be Adam Warlock.
Yep.
And at least from some of what I've read, he was supposed to be in Guardians 2, and they just ran out of time. So they ended up cutting him out. But like, he's supposed to be in this story. And so I'm disappointed that in Infinity War and now in Endgame that we never got to see him. I get that it's not really like this wasn't the place to introduce a new character because we wouldn't have the time for that. But I also hear that he's going to be in Guardians 3 and he's going to be like an important part of Guardians 3. And it's like, okay, you're going to start introducing him after his biggest story is over.
Yeah.
Like,
but Marvel's good at what they do, and they'll find a way to make it work. I think, I mean, I don't know. Who do you think the next big villain is?
I mean, maybe it's Warlock. I don't know.
They definitely could go that route. It could be Galactus, and he could fight Galactus, but I don't know. They've used their big bad, like their biggest of big bads.
Yeah.
So Galactus is their next big thing, I would think, especially now that they have the Fantastic Four back.
Yeah.
It would make sense.
If they're running around with Thor, do we got any other big Thor baddies that they could throw in there?
I mean, they could always bring Loki back again. Because they love Loki, but...
That's one question about the
no
Infinity
one
Snap.
knows.
Well, did it just bring back the people that died in the snap? Or
They
it
could,
bring did it bring back all the people, the halves of populations that Thanos just murdered with guns on his way to the Infinity Stone?
Yeah, I don't know, because they kept saying, Bruce says I tried to bring her back.
When talking about...
When he was talking about doing the snap. But, what do you mean you tried? You thought about it?
Yeah, it seemed, yeah, they didn't really talk about the interface of
the stones.
The stones and the gauntlet, but it does seem to be just like a mind-reading
That bothered me, sorry.
thing.
I thought that was really dumb. Don't act like you know how to use it if you're not going to explain it. Because that's a really big thing to me.
It is.
But
that's fine.
I'm not actually that mad. I just wanted to throw something left-handed.
Let us know. Any other final thoughts? We've talked about this for quite a while.
It's a good movie. Go see it. This is pretty much a whole new episode.
It is, right, basically. Let us know what you thought in the comments below. Hit us up on Twitter, Instagram. Find us on YouTube at What the Fanboy. Find us on all your most popular podcast apps except Spotify, because Spotify doesn't like us right now.
If you're listening to podcasts on Spotify, stop it. They're missing a lot of key features, and I know they're really pushing hey, we have podcasts now, but you can't, in every other podcast player, you can, let's say you start a new podcast that's a current events podcast, so you really only want to listen to the new episodes. They have an option to say mark all previous episodes as listened to. You can't do that in Spotify. You can't mark an episode as listened to unless you go through and listen to it. And it's just a key feature of podcast players. So come on, Spotify.
Get with the program.
Thank you, Chris. Chris is so
plugged
informed on podcast things, so that's fantastic. All right, well, we are going to do next the Game of Thrones Season 8, Episode 3. If you hang out, we'll be back in a few minutes. And if you're not watching this live, just check out our next video or podcast episode.
That's right.
See ya.
See ya.